Hey, what's going on, everyone? Big Bob with Tales of a King. Today we're in Tempe, Arizona at Dixxon Flannel Co. Stay tuned, King Life.
So our very first warehouse was 2,300 square feet. Now we're sitting at 50. I mean, the very first warehouse, all included, was 2 of these racks that you see right here, just as tall as I am right here. Now we go to the ceiling from here, and we're at 50,000 square feet. That's in the process of the last like 4 or 5 years. So this growth for us is, I mean, it's exponential. It means a ton to us, and that's the reason why we go so deep in everything we do. I mean, it's a huge change. Humble beginnings for sure.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Big Bob with Tales of a King. Today we're in Tempe, Arizona at the one and only Dixxon Flannel Company. To the right of me is the man, Danny Dixxon. Danny, thank you for having us, brother.
Man, thanks for coming.
Let's do this. Cheers.
Hell yeah.
They don't mess around with Jack and Coke here.
Big fans.
So we appreciate you, man, having us and giving us opportunity to come into your shop and speak. Me, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of you personally. I'm a big fan of the business. But one of the things I'm always curious about, we follow each other, all that stuff, is what's a typical morning? Because me and you, we pretty much get up at the same time in the morning. I go to work, you're coming here, but I know your plate is full. What is Danny's typical morning like?
So, I mean, I try to keep everything like as normal as possible still, get up super early. And it's like, I mean, I'm up at 5 usually, and the first thing I do is, I should probably change this, but first thing I do is pick up my phone and just start working,
Yeah.
And all the way through breakfast and everything else, but do the normal dad thing in the morning, see the kids off to school, and then, set up a couple meetings for my commute, like to be on the phone, knock those out, because by the time I get here, there's 2 hours of whatever shit storm is coming your way.
Right.
You just never know.
You walk in, it's like, hello. Wait, you said you email on the way to work.
Yes.
So the Tesla is legit as far as taking you here.
I mean, so there's actually a big reason why I don't ride as much to work anymore, because it's like with the Tesla auto drive thing, like the whole reason I got it was because it gives me another 2 hours a day to catch up on Instagram messages and emails and all that stuff.
Right.
And I mean, if I don't check my Instagram for an hour or two, like it's gonna pile up 40-50 messages. So and it's crazy too, because like I only have 30,000 something followers, and
right.
I look at these dudes like say Andrew Frisella or something like that, got over 1 million followers. Like, how the fuck do you keep up with that? It's insane. Like I don't know how they do it. But
not only that, then you got guys like me trying to message him and be like, "Hey, good morning. Have a great day." It's like, what the fuck? Delete.
I hear you. And I don't know. I feel like I've always responded to everything.
Right.
Like always tried to be that personal side of it. And a lot of people along the way have been telling me, it's like, well, just don't spend your time doing that shit. Just get off of it. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like that's what I mean, we have so many rad customers and everything.
Right.
I feel like I owe that to them,
And people
just be normal as fucking and I like connecting with those rad people. So
right. And people get people love that. They love the oh my God, Danny responded. He said thank you, or he hearted me, or he liked it. Like even for me as a fan, for with other people too as well. I'm like, fuck, tell my wife, look it, he said thank you, or look it, he gave me a heart. We must be good.
See, I think we're in the day of, today is different in the fact that like people like doing business with people. They want to know everything, like the behind the scenes stuff. And like now with social media, it's like we can actually kind of show that, you know,
Right.
so that you can look and see the originality behind it and see like how authentic it is.
Right,
you know?
right.
In a day and age where the fake it till you make it, that kind of like mindset was there, you know,
Yeah.
it's all smoke and mirrors. It's like this allows everything to be personal, and which is good. I think I love doing business that way.
Right.
You know? Just transparency is always are big things. So.
Not only that, it shows, you know, you're huge with your family. You know, I'm huge with my family. I like showing them off. I like showing off, you know, I got girls. I like showing off my girls, my wife. I'm proud. You know, on my bio, it says proud father, proud husband. I really am. Like, you know, I've been with my wife almost 20 years. You know, and for me, I'm proud of that. And I see the same thing with you. You push your family. I think that's huge.
Absolutely, man. I think it's really important too, because, and I only say this because of the feedback that I've received. I didn't really set out to do this. I can't take credit for that, but it shows people that it's like, you know, a lot of people are like, well, I don't have time for that shit. Like, I can't dial in the extra hours of the day and blah, 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 because I have a family, or because I have this, because I have a full-time job, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, we all got the same 24, you know, as long as those priorities stay in check.
Right.
You know, and everything, like, fuck, dude, today anything's possible, you know?
Right.
So it's a rad time to be alive, you know?
Hell yeah, yeah.
Things are good.
Couldn't agree more than that. That deserves a cheers. I know. I said last time I drank on this episode, on one of these episodes with one of my best friends, I said I'm never doing this again.
Right. When you have like
When the man speaks. No, I never got that on camera.
Oh, gotcha.
It was after we were like, you know, a lot of tall boys in after.
Yeah.
The video came out good. I was like, okay, I don't know what happened, but we're gonna.
It's like, it's that typical feeling when you're like 3-4 like drinks in at the bar and you
Yeah.
go to the bathroom and you look at yourself, you're like, yeah. Like,
You look ripped.
all
You look extra
smooth
good.
and rad. And then like you see it on camera, you're like, oh fuck. That happens to me now. It's like we do shows and like I'm not really the big like social guy, and I said this a couple times on my Instagram, but like I never wanted to be like the face. You know? I'm more of like the behind the scenes. Like I want to do the creative shit. Like that's the stuff that fuels me.
Right.
But now when we go to shows and like I gotta take pictures with people and shit, and like you're fucked up from like the night before, like entertaining everybody else, you know, like because if we go places and like we don't show them a good time and it's a Tuesday,
Yeah.
they expect like us to be like nuts for whatever reason. And like I start realizing after a while that like, dude, this is how like guys in bands like get all fucked up because they have to like come every night.
Yeah.
So after like a 4-day show, we're like, dude, I need to go home. And then all the pictures come through like Tuesday. And you start seeing yourself, and you were feeling all good, think you look good,
Yeah.
and you're just like, you fucking cross-eyed.
You said you talked about detail right now. I want to speak about your Orange Crush. That thing is the detail to that is just insane. Jeff Holt.
Should we just
let him come out.
Yo, get over here. Sorry, you don't get to just roll in and not be on camera. What's up, dude? Good to see you.
What's up, man? How you doing? All right. How's everything?
Hello, world.
So Jeff Holt from D-Twin Visionary,
That's right.
ex-hot bike extraordinaire. How the fuck are you?
Good, man. You know, I've never been to this spot, so.
This is a great range.
All right, well, here we go. I'm never drinking again on this show.
Yeah, never been to the new spot.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Came and Justin definitely gave us the tour.
So yeah, well this is the Boar's Nest.
Yeah, dude.
This is what happens every
Awesome, man. That's my first time, too.
And I got to wipe my butt all over the seat of that roll, so it was good.
Oh, thank you for that. Now it's gonna be comfortable.
It's got my stench now.
I was feeling uncomfortable in there before, and I couldn't quite tell.
Now
you
it's
know,
got
like,
my man scent.
all
in
my
there.
bikes smell like you, and now my car does too. This is good.
Beautiful. That car's bad as fuck, dude.
Thank you, dude. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
Yes. This is Marco.
Marco, say hi to Marco.
So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, dude.
So yeah, man. Everything good?
Oh yeah. Everything's good, man. We were just talking about motorcycles and Orange Crush, and I was about to tell a story about Skip Taylor and all the fun shit.
Good, dude.
Yeah.
So we're going to get Jeff Holt on here real soon, you guys. If he's willing to do it, we'll meet up and we'll set it up and we'll get you on,
No
man.
problema.
Hell yeah.
I'm in and out of Arizona all the time, so.
Well, we're in Kelly.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So
I knew
Dude,
that.
he's right in the middle. You guys' visit him on the way.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
For sure.
Be a good one. If you guys want to do it, man, comment below and let us know, and we'll make it happen soon.
And make sure you follow V-Twin Visionary.
Yes.
On Instagram. We drop new shit all the time.
Yeah, man.
And good YouTube stuff, all kinds of good content.
All the links and their YouTube, their Instagram, and the links will be all below, like always. And it'll pop up and all that.
Thank
so
you.
yeah.
Have fun, gentlemen.
All
I'm
right.
going to go shake Justin down for some more of the goods.
Good.
Thanks.
You're up for summer?
Yeah, for real. Love you guys.
All right, man. Thank you, brother. Jeff Holt, man, legendary. All right, thank you for tuning in. No,
So as you can see, just you never really know. So when I talk about like what's my morning like, I don't know. Yesterday we had like this weekend they have the NHRA drag race.
Oh, nice.
And Justin's like way into racing and stuff. So like the Snap-on driver was here. Like dude's fucking legendary. Like
Yeah.
been doing it for like 20 years or something.
Wow.
So you have this dude that comes in, it's like calm, cool, and collected, and the dude fucking goes like over 300 miles an hour down a fucking drag strip, and he thinks we're crazy for riding motorcycles. So I'm like, are you kidding me?
Okay.
You just strap yourself to a fucking rocket ship.
I don't wear a fire suit when I ride. I just wear a helmet and some gloves.
So it's like that daily kind of occurrence is, it's fun. It keeps us connected to so many different things. Like for example, Jeff Holt. It's like, and while we just saw him, probably a good idea for me to kind of tell this part of it. When I was like 21 years old or something like that, I was sending Jeff emails like asking him like, how do I get involved in this side? Like I like writing. I enjoy that shit. And I was just a youngster kind of starting out at the shop that me and my pop had in Irvine, California. And fast forward years later, we become friends. We're from the same place. We're from Anaheim, and it's crazy when you get to do something like this, and it connects you to the people that like. I mean, they're my fucking idols.
Right.
The people that I grew up watching. And like on my podcast, I had like say Brian Clough on it, and you're just like you're sitting there. Trying not to like have tears in your eyes, like trying to be like cool about everything.
Yeah.
But dude, it's fucking crazy. Like you spend years watching and reading everything and obsessing with things that you love, like motorcycles. And then now it's like one of my great friends is like a big brother to me, And
Well, you get to that point where Brian was at your house recently, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, how that alone does that feeling ever like get like old? Are you like, oh my god, fucking Brian's here, bro?
Now it's like this, it's just one of our like normal friends, and even on another level, like you said, when it's at your house, it's like a family friend. Like we're tied in with their family,
right?
And dude, great. It's just like he's one of those people that you meet that is just so incredible, and he connects the dots to a lot of different things. He just wants to see everyone win, and he's creative as fuck. He's stayed relevant in this industry for 30 years.
That's a lot.
Dude,
that says a lot in
he makes windshields. So it's like, when he dials it down, and like I say all the time, like I make shirts, like it's like put it in fucking shirts, and so he comes out with different shit and stays relevant and stays creative and keeps on creating his own way.
Right,
it's like,
right.
Who would have thought you could do that? Which is it's just cool to watch.
Well, you talk about being creative. You found the niche in flannels.
Right.
You made it affordable. You made them wrinkle free, which I still don't understand that. You know what I mean?
I hate wrinkles, dude.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing I love, because you didn't reinvent something. I mean, you're not reinventing the wheel. You just made it better.
Right.
And I believe there's a lot of people like that, painters, bike builders, there's a million bike builders, there's a million painters, but everyone has their own, and you found it in a flannel. I think that's amazing.
Right. The crazy thing is, so the way that all started is that, like I was at me and my pop's shop, and I wanted to put flannels in the shop, but I couldn't find flannels I liked, because I was getting sent like care packages from other brands that were trying to get in our shop and stuff. And it's just like the age-old tale of a flannel that it looks great the first time you wear it. Everyone's looks great the first time, but then unfortunately, like I'm a smoker, so like I gotta wash my shit all the time. So it's like first time you wash it, thing's done. It's like crinkled up in a ball, looks like shit, and that shit bugs me. I can't wear that.
Yeah.
So it's like, a lot of that feel that we bring, saying like, that working class like blue collar thing, which, you know, as we grow is weird for some people.
Right.
But they don't really understand that we're just still the same. So like a lot of that feels that it's like, I don't have the fucking money to throw away on a $70 like surf company flannel that just gets mangled into a ball later, you know? And so I just got set out on this obsession to fix it, you know? And you'll see over time that we're so driven by details and not being complacent with it that even when you look at our product 4 years ago, it's very different than it is now. And so every year we're constantly working on taking a simple fucking thing and trying to make it the very best that we can.
Right.
You know? And I think a lot of people bring up like, are you trying to replace Pendleton? Are you trying to do this? Or, you know, are you guys going against anyone?
Right.
Dude, when someone mentions my brand name next to Pendleton, like, I'm fucking honored.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Dudes have been around for like, you know, 120 years or something like that. And like, and that's like, you know, from the neighborhoods that we're all from, like that's a fucking status thing.
Right.
You know? It's a cultural icon, you know, and it's really cool.
You know, you mentioned the detail in the flannels, and I was listening to the Jim Raleigh podcast. Is it Say Yes or Just Say Yes?
Yeah, Just Say Yes.
Just Say Yes. And you had mentioned your first run, your first custom run, the cuffs or the sleeves are falling apart, and
they were ripping right here, like where the buttons were. And dude, it's you know.
So how do you fix something like that? I guess how do you?
So over the years, the thing is, like, I can't believe I learned this much about clothing in that amount of time. But when you get to that point where it's like it's a make or break moment, you know, it's like we did, like I said on that podcast, we're all in at that point. It was our first custom run. I had $28 left in my bank account. My fucking credit cards are maxed out, and we're like, dude, it's just like, I fucking hope this works, you know. And so like next day we did like 60 grand in sales.
Yeah.
And then it was like, you're on top of the world, that's great, you know, and then all of a sudden 2-3 months later we're fucking refunding everyone and sending out replacements for everything because, you know, something happened. So then we just had to be dedicated to constantly fixing those problems. Because if we don't, dude, like we're gonna go up, you know. So just constantly like reinvested in the company and then just never we're complacent. And, you know, not gonna be happy with it. You know, even the stuff that we're putting out this year, I guarantee 2 years from now I'm not gonna ever want to see it. You know, because it's just like you look at it and you study it and you live with it and then you become fucking married to it every day and every hour and trying to figure out how to make it better. And then like I almost think like painters probably feel like this, you know, like those dudes spend fucking so many hours like on all that taping. And when it's finally done, they're super stoked, but at the same time, probably like the best moment is like seeing that thing fucking go down the street, you know.
Especially those guys who do all the lines, and I don't know the name what they do, but I'm like,
dude.
I have a buddy who does it. I'm like, he's a thin little paint, and he's just tape, and he's like, dude, I'm getting a headache watching you, bro.
I don't have the patience. I couldn't do it.
No.
It's fucking crazy to me. I give them all the credit in the world, man.
Yeah.
To be a good painter is just something fucking else.
You know, you said something right now about customer service. I have a buddy in your earlier years. He bought some shirts. I don't want to say flannel. I think it was shirts. And I think he DM'd you guys. He was like, "Yo," he's like, "Man, I bought shirts from you guys before. You know, I bought some shirts recently. What's the deal?" And the response is, "We'll send you." You guys sent him, I don't know, like 2 or 3 more. Like, fucking here. It's here. Don't even worry about it. We're sorry. Boom. Is that, you guys still follow that same protocol?
Absolutely. Look, we don't have anything firm in writing that tells anybody. It's like, to protect us, it has to say like 60 days or something like that, right? But it's such a, like I mentioned earlier, people like doing business with people these days, you know? It's like, they know who's behind the brand. They know what it's about. And for us to keep that integrity, I'm always going to hold true to that. So we set in those budgets to make sure that it's like, if anything goes wrong, I don't, if I buy something that's fucked up, and I got to take the time out of my day to like send that shit back or like, and hit you up and everything else, I feel fucking terrible when that happens to someone else. I assume that everyone's time's worth the fucking lot.
Right.
And so I just want to make it as easy as possible. So I tell our customer service department, like, bar none, number fucking one, it's like, if anything fucking happens, that button falls off, send them a new fucking shirt. You know, and then just make sure you tell them, like, hey, here's an extra button too. Sew that one on and like, keep it for a garage flannel. Right. Or whatever, you know? So it's like, I think that it goes to show it's the integrity of the company and just not being like, not cheaping out on that shit. You know, there's too many businesses out there these days that are like, they're looking at the bottom line only and they forget that they're doing business with people. You know, and that's our number one. is the people.
Right.
Because, I don't know, that's what we do, really.
That doesn't mean you go fucking your shirt up and then telling him. He just said if it's fucked up.
You do ask for a picture, so I'm going to be able to tell if you took a knife down the thing and just like took everything off.
But you heard it from the man himself, you guys. So, like, as far as we're in 2020, this year, do you plan on doing anything like fuck this? I'm not even going off that. Do you plan on personally doing any shows, like hitting shows for a good time, not necessarily business or venue? Is there anything you want to do? Danny wants to do.
So, on like a normal basis, like I try like on the weekends and stuff, like take the boys to like car shows and stuff.
Yeah, I love that, dude. I love that bond you got with your boys.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, I grew up with motorcycles. You saw my pops down here.
Right, that's awesome. Yeah, we'll get some footage of them later.
And it's like if I didn't have that growing up and like that shit instilled in my blood, like, you know, I want them to have that too.
Right.
And like one of my boys is super smart and he loves putting things together. And so like lately I've been wanting to kind of like tear down like a fucked up motor. Actually, like, so Jeff Holt gave me one of his grenaded motors, and so I was like thinking about tearing that thing down so you can see how it goes together, and just because it fascinates him. But then at the same time, be like, don't become a motorcycle mechanic. Like, dude, like go be a fucking architect.
Do this for fun. Impress your friends with this.
I don't want you to have like the curse of all of us staying in this fucking, you know, the motorcycle business is. I mean, you have a ton of guys on your episodes and stuff that like most people watching this don't understand how hard it is to do that. You know?
Yep.
Keeping the passion alive for one, and for two, everyone assumes you're like, oh, you have a motorcycle shop, the guy's fucking rich or something like that. Like, dude, we're working off of like tiny margins in an industry that like has shit all over fucking Amazon and everything else that you're constantly dealing with.
Right.
And keeping that local culture alive with that stuff is really fucking hard.
Yeah.
And so like they see these nice baggers, like say like IE baggers like that you had on.
Right.
Dude, phenomenal fucking work that they put out, right? And that shit's not easy though.
Right.
It's not easy keeping those doors open and having to do that every day. You know?
Well, when we showed up, it was a Saturday morning. They were working already.
Right.
Like they were grinding. I said, "You guys working?" He's like, "Bro, we don't stop." I said, "Man." So it like even for me coming in, like even like today, I'm just like, "Man, I appreciate you guys." He's like, no. He's like, we're going to be here before. We're going to do what we got to do, and then we're going to keep going. I was like, wow, that's impressive, man. Oh, yeah. Because he's like, we ride when we ride, but we have to do this first.
Definitely.
I'm like, dude, I respect you guys, man.
What I liked about that was that they talked about riding their shit. You know,
yeah.
Because they kind of catered to some of the big wheel stuff, and they made it a point to say like, yeah, we ride the fuck out of these things, which is cool.
His slogan is, we ride.
Yeah.
And you guys that aren't watching, he watches. So
exactly.
He just quoted some shit. Now I know like the I'm gonna go off subject a little bit, but the Orange Crush, like I'm in love with that thing. Is there a story behind that bike, or is it just something you not slapped together, but is it something you that vision, or is there something more to that?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people know Orange Crush as just my bike or just a fresh build. But there's a lot of history behind that thing. So that original bike, the original tin set that's on it, that orange paint job, it belonged to Skip Taylor from SNS.
Okay.
And Skip is a legend, like in his own right, and his attention to detail is second to none on all his bikes and stuff. He ended up selling that, and he sold it to Big Chris from FXR Division. And after Chris was done with the bike and reworking it the way he did, he sold it to Barker down in Dago. And Barker hit me up and he's like, dude, I know how much sentimental value there is to this thing in Arizona as far as the paint and everything, but he's not a loud dude. You know, he's known for more like just super blacked out bikes, but super functional stuff. I mean, he had a FXR on the cover of Hot Bike, like that. Actually, I think Carrie Hart ended up buying.
Oh wow.
The Death Star, the Black Star, or some shit like that. And dude, that was like 7 years ago or something like that.
Wow.
We weren't seeing a lot of that at
right.
the time. And so he likes stuff the way he likes it.
Right.
So, but he didn't want to paint over those. So we took my FXR, we swapped out tins, and I was able to bring him back here and start with a new bike. And then I got with Tony at Ramjet, and it was rad to do it because kind of the younger generation of it, and even, you know, Tony's like a wizard when it comes to FXRs. He's just fucking like far beyond, like before his time kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like even at this point, I think he's only 29, 30 years old. So at this time, he was like 26, 27, and we twin cam did the whole conversion, took down the frame and everything, and while we're doing that build, Skip passed away.
Oh wow!
So it was like we owed it to make sure that the thing was done fucking right.
Right.
You know, and that like all the details were met. And dude, like I'll tell you now, like I have. Harley doesn't give me shit, so to be honest.
Come on, Harley.
You know, it's like I have a new bagger, but like Orange Crush rides on fucking rails. You know, it's like it is something else, and so it's like riding something like that will spoil you, and even jumping on like on my bagger, which is set up nice. It's a great build, you know, that I did with Quaid, Harley Davidson, and that's called Frosty. That bike's fucking great. I love the Real Glide, but I'm just so connected. I love FXRs, man. They fit me right. I know my recipe with them. I'll do the same fucking thing to them over and over again with a different shiny fucking paint job, and I just love them, dude. Yeah,
but the Orange Crush also has a sentimental value as well as.
Oh yeah.
There's you're with Skip, I guess, when you're riding that bike, and it holds you. He's there with you, I guess you can say, in spirit.
Absolutely. I always have a lot of bikes, but that's going to be the one that's the one, you know. that's the keeper that goes over time, you know.
Right.
If fucking, 2 years from now, everyone wakes up to a memo that our company sucks and they shouldn't buy anything from us anymore. We sell everything else, but I got to keep that one.
And then you put them on blast.
Yeah.
I sit there and I go, oh my God, if I did that, I'd probably get beat up. Anyway, yeah. If you probably seen them if you follow Danny. Danny, you riding motorcycles is nothing new. You rode dirt bikes. You did you start off with dirt bikes? Did you get into the street bikes immediately, or did you
No, it's so I graduated high school, say like 2003.
Oh
so
God, make me feel old.
When I was like, my first bike, I think I was 20, 21.
Oh wow.
Actual like street bike.
Yeah.
And it was not cool to do that at all. It's not like there's rad chicks that were like pumped on it, you know.
Right.
It's like Born Free, even at that time, even if that existed, I can't remember at that point. I think it did. It just started or something like that. Like, yeah, there's a small group of people that are really into choppers and stuff. But you know how it is, like when you first get into bikes, like you're like a fucking square.
Right.
You know, you're like
in that scene,
wearing like a DOT like German helmet or whatever.
Big old mushroom.
You first get into it, you're just like. You kind of learn quickly, but it's just funny because it's a different world. You grow up on dirt bikes and stuff, and then it's like I realized I was like, dude, I want to ride a fucking motorcycle every day, but but I wasn't raised around street bikes.
Okay.
Like, I kind of got into like Harley stuff before my dad really did, or maybe around the same time, you know.
Yeah.
And then, but then once like he was into it too, it was a really cool thing to like share with him, you know.
So is that when, because you said your dad got on the Harleys later, is that when you guys decided to open a shop, or how did that work?
Yeah, so like we had a shop already, and so like basically like I had moved to Chicago, like go do my thing and like kind of learn a lot. And when I got back, I wanted to open a bicycle shop actually, and like my dad he's still big into bicycles too, like old school Schwinn stuff. He's always into BMX, and but we came from dirt bikes, and like what really embedded that like in our family was like my grandpa used to like weld frames and shit for, for like first like sand cars, like take like Volkswagen motors and dune buggies and shit, and so like that's how my dad grew up. It was like ever since he was like 3 years old or something like that, they were going to Glamis and shit, and like that was always a part of our lives. And then so I was raised on dirt bikes, but like I just never really knew that culture and that side of things. And being kind of really like into like lowriders and shit, like it was a perfect parallel where he's like, I don't have time anymore to go out and ride dirt bikes and stuff like that, but I want to be free on a motorcycle,
right?
And I want to have fun on anything that has two wheels, and that kind of started that thing. So the weird part about it is, I guess like I didn't really look at it or get it when I was younger, and so even when I first got into it, like none of my friends were into that shit. Like it was like, why? Like, it's like,
damn, that guy turned weird.
You're gonna what?
Yeah.
You're gonna Cook's Corner and hang out with a bunch of other people and fucking motorcycles? Cool.
And drink beer?
Yeah. So it's like, once you start getting into that and stuff, it's like you realize you get to feel free every fucking day.
Right.
Instead of like having to strap everything down on a Sunday and at that point, now you gotta drive 2.5, 3 hours out to ride. You can't, you know, like when my dad's growing up, you just go out to Corona or something like that.
Right.
You know, go anywhere, and like with all the land closures and everything else, it's just not possible, you know.
Right.
So once I started getting into that, I think what really drew me in too was like, you know, we liked customizing dirt bikes as far as like graphics and everything else, but this opened up a new, limitless fucking possibility, you know.
Right.
And it's just like that form of expression that you get into like with bike building and stuff like that. It's just like it was a great outlet,
Right.
And I really enjoyed it, you know. And it was cool. It was a cool time, you know. I'd say like I probably enjoy that more, thinking back to that time, not knowing industry side,
Right.
than when you're like really in it. Because when you're in it, you have to like, you got to motivate yourself and tell yourself like, hey, like stay in this, like be, you know, stay passionate on it. Because it's your everyday job.
And all that was before social media, right? Or was it 2004, 5?
Yeah, so it was probably like 2006, 2007. We were that's when we were like opening the shop and stuff and like doing all that stuff. And like the first bikes I got, my first couple bikes were Road Kings.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen that. You had that black one on with the solo
the
seat.
black one had like the scallops on it.
Yeah.
It had like the Fat Daddy like black and green spokes.
Yeah, I seen that.
So like, I fucking love that bike, dude. That was like the first bike that I was really proud of,
Hmm.
and did that Road King. And it was like at the time where you couldn't buy the whole like blacked out kit
Right.
like, from Harley, you know. And so it's like taking it all apart and like making it all black. Like at that time, like made you feel like a game changer or something. You know?
Doing it.
Yeah, you got like this different attitude or whatever.
Right.
And like you didn't have like Harley didn't have Sportster 48s and stuff like that ready to go
Yeah.
already, you know. And that bike was great, and like I think I was living in Huntington Beach at the time, and like dude, that new sort of freedom and just fucking some big ass Carlinis,
Yeah.
you know, going down PCH, dude, there's nothing like it, you know.
Didn't you ride that from Arizona to Huntington? Or was that?
No.
No. Okay.
God, there's been so many bikes since then. I'm trying to think. You know, after that, like I had a whole slew of fucking Dynas and stuff like that. But I had another Road King after that too, before like Big Wheels had really exploded. You know.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to go a little bit bigger, just for the look of it, and
Yeah.
it look kind of like a lead sled and have like a nice, like just a nice lay to it. You know, just like a perfect stance.
Right.
But when you don't do it right, I think it rode like shit.
That's why IE baggers. You said that.
Like feet just like jarring, dude.
That's funny.
But you know, and then from there, it's like you open up this whole world of like performance bikes and perfect handling stuff, and it was like putting T-bars on like my first T-Sport that I got was a 2002 T-Sport, and this dude in Florida owned it, and he rode it home from the dealership, and like something medically happened, and he lost his leg.
Oh wow.
And so then he just parked it in his garage, and it had fucking 17 miles on it. And so like I got that thing, like brought it back to life, and it was like when Death Squad first started out in San Diego, and they started making those handlebars. Put a set of those on, and it was like it like reawoke this like dirt bike feeling. It was like riding a fucking dirt bike on the street. It was so much fun, and you're just dipping through traffic and stuff. So it's like that opened up a whole new world of like performance shit that I just didn't know about, you know.
Yeah.
I was just into like cruising and having that freedom, into like now this is fucking chaos, and like you know, it was like
reckless,
split lanes everywhere, and just fucking, you know, like getting in trouble, and like, you know, being a hooligan, and it's fun as fuck, you know.
It feels good, huh?
Times, yeah.
Get a couple of drinks. Don't drink and ride.
Yeah. And at that time, the weird and different thing is too, is like one of the last times I went to California, I broke down on the side of the road, and I'm like sitting there, and I just, dude, I was in San Diego, and I'm just seeing like, dude, like there's a T-Sport, blah, 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 there's an FXR, and like another bike passes, and you see all this shit. And at that time, like, dude, if you saw another bike like that, you're like, oh shit. You know, it's like, it was different and strange because you couldn't order all those parts out of a catalog yet.
Right.
You know, you're like, you had to kind of figure it out.
Right.
You didn't have it on social media to be like, this is the recipe for like your bike, and like you didn't have all like the dyno forums and all that different shit. And so it was kind of, I don't know, when I think back to those times, it was cool and unique. Dudes were doing that way before that.
Right.
You know? Like, and I know that, and so I'm not saying like it was on the forefront or anything. It's just very different than it is today.
Well, with that social media, you could build a bike through DMs.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, like, okay, you're done. Cool, thanks.
You know, now the recipe's out there, and like you can build just crazy ass shit. And like even at that time, to replace the shocks that are on there, because like those T Sports and DXs, the only thing that had tall shocks on them, you know, and to get those shocks at the time, you couldn't order them out of catalog. You had to, like, we had to have Race Tech custom make them.
Wow.
You know, like some 14-inch shocks.
Yeah.
And those, and you know, like getting into like piggybacks and stuff. You didn't see that.
So back then, there was custom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. To take it to that level is just different.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
You know? So it just opened up a whole new world. I'm glad that I got to see it from that perspective
Right.
before the way it is now.
Do you still wrench on bikes or?
I don't.
Oh.
I'm fucking like. I'm a mess in the head, dude. Like, I'm fucking like, you know, with all the stuff going on here, like
Yeah.
sometimes if I'm telling someone like I'm working and it's like they walk in, I'm like staring at the wall. You know, it's like because like everything has to like kind of come
Right.
here as far as the creative shit and all the marketing and all that stuff. And so for me to switch gears is really hard. So these days, like to keep my pops busy, like I moved him out here to Arizona, and like he takes care of a lot of my cars and my bikes. And
Nice.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I feel like kind of a weirdo saying that shit, because like when I used to hear about like Jay Leno's cars and shit, and I'm like, you fucking serious? Like you have this guy come in to like make sure your batteries are charged and shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I get it now.
Like, dude, that's huge. You know what I mean? That's impressive. That's the level you're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like not so much like that. It's just that I can't see anything. Like I'm there. Like you know, my wife knows how it is. But
Right.
like, even if I'm at home, she has to like kind of snap me out of it.
Right.
Like, hey, come back down. You know, like fucking be human again. You know,
Yeah.
and you just like you get so engulfed in business in your head that you can't see everything around you. That you know is right in front of you. Like I just forget to fucking do shit.
Yeah.
That before I really enjoyed. So now lately, you know, it's a long-winded way of answering your question basically. Lately, I've been trying to like turn the phone off and take some time to do shit that I enjoy. And now that we don't do it for a living, I do enjoy taking those times and like, you know, just fucking doing shit with the boys and
Right.
you
Right.
know, just doing little shit here and there on the bikes and on their Razor and shit.
Yeah, the Razor.
You know,
I like watching those videos.
yeah, dude, the little guy gets after it. And then, like, or just like barbecuing, like just shit like that. That shit is so simple in comparison to what has to go through my head to keep all this shit going.
Right.
That I enjoy the fuck out of it. Like
People may not. I think people may not realize that. Like you're saying, you walk in, you're staring at the wall. So for you to go home on a weekend and barbecue and have some drinks with your wife is huge.
yeah,
It's magical, and people don't. I think people get the perception he probably does it every day. Where in actuality, doing that is a gift. You know what I mean? Like, whoa, okay, I'm here. Let's just relax.
absolutely. I mean, there's so many different elements to that. If people see me on vacation, which is somewhat rare to be honest with you, but like if I am, it's like, oh wow, that must be nice. Like you're out there and blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, if I'm on vacation, I feel like my whole staff has to know that I'm working hard. So like, dude, I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning just to make sure I get 4 hours in before like the family's up.
Yeah.
Just so that I can put that thing down and like enjoy the time with them. And like after dinner, I'm in a hurry to get back to put in another 4, just to make sure like my work day was complete. You know?
Right.
And you know, so much so to the point where now like a lot of, you know, some of my staff, especially the more of like our top people, they like beg me to leave.
Is anything coming up soon?
You know, like Gabby will be like, you need to take some time off. Or, you know, Justin says the same thing. Like, please, like, just fucking enjoy your life, you know. And I just, you know, I love what I do, so I just fucking get engulfed in it, you know.
Is it hard to leave it though? Like, is it hard to? This is your baby. You know what I mean? So is it hard to be like step out or step away? You know?
Yeah, it's always been like normal everyday life since it's like. It's weird when you become a business, like I've seen this now as we've expanded, now that we have like fresh blood coming in and stuff, and they're from corporate places,
right?
And things are very different. You look at things very different when you're used to doing a skeleton crew. And when you have to be the guy that does everything, like you know every piece of it, you know how to like, you know how to cut your time in half.
Right.
And then when you're like corporate, like, you know, clock puncher guy, like you know how to stretch out your time. Take long bathroom breaks and shit, you know. and so it's just different, and instilling that culture into other people is unique and different. But it's exciting. They when the passion oozes out of a place, I think they start to pick up on
right.
it, you know. And so I never really realized how important it was or how much I was attached to it as like, being my baby. And so like, you know, you get an offer to like, you know, for a buyout or something like that, and you are looking at a number that like, fuck, like 3 years ago, I would have been like, I'll be fucking set for life. Like, I'm fucking out. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna enjoy my life, blah, blah, blah. And you can't do it because you're like, I can't. Like, if I take that and I step away, or someone starts telling me what I have to do in my brand, then it's like, I have to watch that. And it's like, and you
can't do shit about it.
Thing is like, is that worth the money?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think so. It's like, you have to figure out, it's like, what did you really want in life? You know, it's like, just so you can look at your bank account and figure out something to do every day and get into fucking, you know, like crocheting or something like that. I don't know what I'm gonna do with my time. Like, I love doing this shit.
Right, right,
so it's like, that's a real moment where you're really faced with like, this is your baby. You realize right then, you're like, dude, I'm attached as fuck to this.
Yeah.
Like, it has to go this way. And if it loses those roots and like the realness of it, then there's no fucking point in doing it. And I don't want to watch that happen, you know?
Right.
I don't think I could take that.
Watching your stuff go on Amazon and in Walmart would probably be the death of you.
Dude, like that was a weird call. We got that like 2 months ago. Amazon called us and it's like, yeah, we want to stock your product. And there's different ways, because you'd be like a third-party seller or something like that. They kill you to fees and all that shit. But they wanted to actually stock it like in the warehouse and be able to ship it out. And
wow.
And we looked at like the proposal for the numbers and we're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is like something 2 years ago we would just been like, holy fuck, like I don't know how we could say no, you know. And like, but now, like I just said, it's like you look at that dollar amount and you look at what it would do to you and you're just like, fuck no.
Yeah.
Like we do this on our own and make sure that we try to ship just as fast as they do and do everything with integrity and feeling of where we're from.
Right,
and
right.
all that feeling in every fucking piece of it, so that the customer can feel it and they can feel us, you know. And that takes all of that shit out. That's just it's kind of like a soulless way of doing it.
Right. Then it's raw. It's coming from the real people doing the real job, sending out real packages. Not
absolutely.
You know, and to me, this
not just another thing on this fucking massive warehouse.
Exactly.
Like shit. You
Right.
know, a SKU number. You know, so it's just different.
I remember reading that post. It said, got the call of a lifetime, whatever. I was so happy I could say no. I was like, fuck yeah. I'm like, fuck, he's going to Amazon. Oh, no, he's not.
Lead it on, so people were like, oh, fuck, no way. You really did it. And it was like, the next one's like, nope.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Like, dude, that was empowering. You know,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like, with a couple of my guys has been with me for a long time, and when it was only 4 of us, you know, like that was a day where like we were just like, dude, fucking pour some drinks, and it's like, you're not celebrating like that slam dunk deal. You're celebrating the fact that like we got the freedom to be able to say that, and celebrate the fact that like that we still know what we're doing. So
Right.
We're not gonna sell out. You know, like at some point maybe you gotta do that. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't think people should feel bad about that, but like that would rob everything that we fucking put into. You know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That was a crazy day, dude.
Because I think for no matter how much you guys have grown, and I don't know if I'm going to use the wrong word here, raw is what you guys are still. You're real. There's nothing, like you said, there's not some big old manufacturing warehouse. Dixxon Flannel is Dixxon Flannel. And the people, like you say, you got, 5 of the same guys that started with you?
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
To me, that's huge. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we all know what it's like to do every single piece of it, you know?
Yeah.
Like Justin's like my right-hand man. He's my COO. And he started off. I met him at Harley actually, and he's a phenomenal salesman. And he ended up like going through some shit, and he got fired this one day. And I ended up giving him a job, and I like did not have enough money to fucking be like giving someone a job.
Yeah.
You know, I think but before that, he started out like on his days off, like, you know, slinging flannels at shows for us and stuff, just so we could get like some free stuff here and there. And like coming in and helping us like pack on releases and stuff, because at that time there was still shit like 2 or 3 of us, you know, running the whole deal. And so it's cool when you build off a group like that,
Right?
Because they all know what it feels like, you know, and they take tremendous pride in it because they know how fucking hard it was.
Right. They've been to the trenches. They've been to the highs, the lows.
Yeah.
And to you, that has to be like, man, how do you? I mean, you thank them, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it must be, that's deep.
It is a very deep emotional bond.
Yeah.
It's crazy, you know. It's like we've been at times we're like, I don't even want to admit. You know, it's like you have like 5 dudes that crying together.
But it's real. That's real. Like that's real shit.
Yeah,
you know,
it's gnarly, dude. Like,
Danny, I want to touch on a subject that a lot of people, unless you're following Danny on the social media, that's Danny Dixxon, just how it sounds. Hold on.
righteous pause. That's well deserved.
You went through a moment where you got sober.
Yes.
Or you took a break, whatever you want to call it. What was that for growth, or what was the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So it's like when I first started the company, I basically was like, you know, I'm young, like, you know, and decently young, I should say, like in my 20s, you know, just had our first kid, and you're adjusting to like I tell people all the time, like women have hormonal changes and they turn into moms,
right.
while they're pregnant. That's like, you're just the same, and you're supposed to like, get
with the kid.
You know,
look, I made that.
It's like, I didn't get it at first. Like, I was working 7 days a week, and like, you know, just fully like kind of scared of letting go of my 20s and like partying a lot, you know. And I kind of realized, like, I was like, I didn't have the focus to like get everything done, and I was like sober for about 2 years, and when we moved here and everything, and a lot of that growth that we made early on in Dixxon was made possible because I had all this time on my hands suddenly that I wasn't hungover at home.
Yeah.
And so later we turned into being known for being the party brand, and even in a sense, like, we still are, and we're known for being pretty loose and everything. And I started wondering whether I could still connect with the consumer or the customer without it. And as we were growing rapidly, you know, every year we were like doubling in sales, and like as it gets bigger, that double is very much so bigger, and it's a lot more people, you know.
So you literally grew every year.
Oh, double to triple every year.
Wow, that's awesome.
And so it was like, you know, it was great. It took a lot of work, you know, but it's a lot to deal with when you're making some of those first jumps, you know? And I didn't know how to deal with the first times being recognized. You know, as I mentioned earlier, it's like I never wanted to be the guy that was like the face. Like,
right.
It's just not my personality. And I just get like, just this, I don't even know what to call it. Like, just like, people are bombarding you at shows and stuff, and like, I just didn't know how to handle it really. It's not like it went bad. It just was, it was a lot for me.
It's not you.
I just like, I didn't feel like, I couldn't tell if I was playing a character or if I was being me, and I always like set out to be transparent and honest, you know, and you start like turning into this guy that you're just fucking like smiling and shaking hands and like taking pictures, and I felt fake, you know. And so we would go to these shows, and dude, I'd have to be fucking blasted to get through it, you know.
Right.
Wear sunglasses the whole time, you know, just wake up in the morning, start drinking, and like fucking just so I get through it.
Right.
You know, like, you know, so bad to the point where like it's just, my health is declining really bad. You know, I gained like fucking 60 pounds. It was fucking gnarly, you know.
Right.
And I was just like, it started taking a toll on everything, you know. And so I had to challenge myself to see, like, can I still connect? Can I still do it? Like, am I being myself, you know? And had to get a hold of everything. So like, so it took like a 6-month break, and it was fucking great, you know. And just like dial it in and like find myself, and because you just start wondering, like, am I doing these things to make everyone happy, or am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, it's really easy to say, I don't give a fuck, this is my way, like when you're drunk.
Right. Yeah. I'm the man.
Like, and it's like, you start wondering, is it false or what, you know? And so when you're exposed to all of it and the highs and lows and being completely sober, it's like it uncovers new things you just never dealt with.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
it's just like it starts uncovering your reasoning behind it all. So I just wanted to get myself like back in balance and check it out. Like, almost felt like I was getting to know my kids again, you know. And because when we first started, the kids were babies, and you know, I wouldn't be able to do this without my wife, and she's been a stay-at-home mom. That's what she wanted to do.
Right.
And she was a hard worker before that and everything. And I was just like, dude, if that's what you want to do, like, I'm gonna fucking grind my ass off to make sure that you could do that. You know?
Right.
And so she takes that shit seriously and lets me like really focus on my shit, but so much so that, like, you know, it's like I was just starting to lose it, you know, and just starting to go the other way. and you'll get off the road for like, 15-day stretch, and you come home and you feel like a stranger in your house because you had to, be up and be the life of the party every fucking night.
Right,
and
right.
It just like, I just had to dial it back, and but it was a good change,
You know what? I followed you through that, and I remember, I remember watching. I remember when you said you're going sober or whatever, however you said it. And I said, "Fuck, right, this is going to be cool. Like this, let's check this out." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as those 6 months felt like a long 6 months, as
Me too.
as
Long as fuck.
as someone rooting for you. Like, I'm like, dude, let's because of your work ethic, your grind mode, everything you put in all to it. So I'm like, okay, this guy's gonna get sober. Let's watch this. And you go to the bar and you'd be like, oh, water. I'm like, this guy's doing it. But what I saw in those 6 months was a change. I saw a different Danny, and for me, it was like a level up in everything. I'm like, whoa.
Right.
And when you just said all that right now, it makes sense. You had to come back, but you didn't just come back. You came back on a different level.
Right.
And that's what I noticed, and I thought that was awesome.
Sometimes it's like, I think that you start to see that you're like, like I said before, I'm a lush, so like I've always been a big fucking drinker.
Yeah.
I'm not a daily drinker, but like when I go for it, like
Yeah.
I'm like everyone's worst friend, So I'm good with it.
You're the guy when we're going, baby, go with Danny.
Yep,
Fuck.
exactly.
See you tomorrow.
I've heard before, like wives say they're like, oh, I'm gonna go hang out with Dixxon guys. They're like, they'll ask right away, are the wives there? Well, no. And like, fuck, like they didn't get in a fight like right after that because they know it's gonna be bad. But it's like it just started turning. Our workplace was like, it was chaos, and that was everything I wanted. Mm-hmm. And like I always felt like our brand was supposed to be that. We're like, this is fucking punk rock, and like fuck that, and like you can't do this at like corporate places, so we're gonna do it here, and blah blah blah. And then you just start losing track of shit, and you're like trying to figure out as you grow, like how do you pay taxes right? How do you like do all this shit that you never thought of?
Right.
And you get behind on all of it, and it's just like, dude, it's so taxing. It's like it was just robbing pieces of me, and I felt like as I thought I was faking it with like a lot of people, it was like each person was like taking a little bit of me away, and in the end I was just like, dude, I've just never faced my shit because it's like I've been like this for so long, and so like maybe I need to dial it in and figure out like why the fuck I'm like this, In the end, I figured out how to balance like the pros and cons of being that person. Instead of asking why am I not like everyone else,
right.
I could just like have 2 beers and just be fine, Like started like
Who wants to drink 2 beers?
Yeah, like I don't even want to do that. Like that's gonna make me go to sleep. I'd rather just stay home. But I started figuring out that it's like the other side of that is that I'm extremely fucking focused, and I just haven't felt healthy enough to exercise it,
Right,
so
right.
It was a good thing, and like now, even now that I drink and stuff, I never go out or drink on the weekends. Like my weekends are very like family focused.
Okay.
And so like I don't really go out to like bars and shit like that or anything. And I kind of, a lot of our stuff, if we need that creative juice, I hate to say it, but it is what it is. We're better at what we do when we're fucking drinking.
Yeah.
and so now like we drink. It's just very different.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not trying to hide anything. It's like you're trying to enhance it maybe a little bit and have a good time and enjoy it. It's good times with good friends, And before it was more like just to get through everything.
Oh, yeah.
You don't fucking, like, at the end of it, you don't remember much of it, You have to go to Sturgis for 11 days? Fuck that. I checked that off my list. Like, I don't even want to go back there, dude. Last time I went, last year, like, I rode there with, like, Clark's wife, and, like, shook the hands, did all the meetings I was supposed to do. I crammed them all into one day, and I jumped on a plane to get the fuck out. I was like scared, like left to my own devices and fucking Sturgis. Like, not good, dude. Like, I'm gonna die in that place. So all you do is like watching this. If you go to that thing yearly, you're a fucking champion.
Once again.
Sobriety.
Cheers. Cheers to leveling up. So Danny, I know, like, I always revert to the social media thing because that's what it is now, 2020.
Right, you just stayed away, and that's how like we see what's going on in each other's lives and stuff.
You're very transparent you're not afraid, for the most part, to show, I don't want to say the negative, but the bad. You show the good, the bad, and the ugly. Is that something, I mean, I guess why do you do that?
So it kind of like reverts back to like what we were just talking about, like with that old sobriety thing. It was like I started feeling like I was losing myself, and like I literally was like Googling like clothing company failures, like you know, like stuff like that. Like I actually wanted to see like a real story, like what happens, like people just burn out or what, and like we're on such a like this upward trajectory that like, you know, just like becoming a dad or something like that, like you don't have a fucking manual or anything showing you the way, and you suddenly start experiencing all these other things that like that you never thought were there. You know, you're just like,
wow.
And when you're in a clothing company, like you think it's like you gotta market it, you know,
right.
obviously, so you know marketing's involved, but like the biggest part is like creativity and connecting with your customers, and you don't see all the rest of the shit that goes into it. And once you start getting bigger and dealing with like the management of people and like, you know, and burning out and like the way that you're, you know, the way that your character comes off, like, you know, especially in these days of media and stuff like that.
Do you feel you have to watch what you do and what you say more, or are you just loose with it?
I'm loose with it because of the fact that I couldn't find that. So because I couldn't find it, nobody told the bad part of the story. It was like, dude, the magazines like, you know, Entrepreneur, Forbes, anything like that, they're full of stories showing you that like, hey, they had this idea, blah, blah, they got funded, they got this, they got that, and they got big. But they don't show that like, you know, you got this ragtag group of fucking dudes like doing their thing, and then like you suddenly start going through things that like you never thought you would experience. And so you're trying to make up the rules as you go, and you don't know the difference between wrong and right and what you're supposed to do and
right.
what's going to piss people off, what's going to lose customers. And so you start just like kind of shooting from the hip and just being as real as possible. So when I couldn't find that in the darkest times, I think when everything got clear and I got clear-headed, I kind of like made it my mission to be like, I want to show it all.
Right.
And this also came from like in the very beginning, you know, to start like a full cut and sew operation, dude, it's so much money, like, you know, $70,000 or something like that for us to start like the first custom shit. So, you know how it is, like when you see those minimums and stuff like that, it's no longer like printing shirts. You're looking at these huge minimums and huge risk in tying up everything you have. So we couldn't do that from the beginning. So when we started, we were like using blanks. Like we were using like the Yago flannels because it was the only thing that I knew was better than other stuff.
Right.
And then, and so then we did like spun it as a brand because basically I couldn't find that shit out there anymore. And like I went and found that manufacturer.
Right.
And it was like, whenever I see your shit, like I buy like 4 of them because I know that I'm not gonna see them again. Like, what's the deal? And they're like, well, we're kind of thinking about getting out of that. Like we sell way more of this other shit.
So Yago was thinking about getting rid of that specific colorway.
Yeah, well, like they were like, we're just kind of done doing flannels possibly.
Oh, full flannels
so
in general, okay.
Bringing in as much stuff. And so I kind of told them, I was like, I feel like I could take your stuff if you're okay with me branding it, and I could sell it and twist it like in a different way. You know, it's because not a lot of people know that this is how it works, but like, dude, 70-80% of like clothing companies that are out there, that's how it works. Like that's how Bolcom started. Like that's how a lot of stuff. The whole reason the Los Angeles fashion district even fucking exists is because boutiques are made of like going and finding shit and branding it themselves, and the work that they do is branding. And that's what we're buying.
So you were actually rebranding the Yago. You were ripping the tags out, putting.
So that was our first 2 years.
Stay Gold.
We're like that. Yeah, when Stay Gold started, like, dude, so that whole $180 in a dream thing, that whole tagline that came from, is like that was the money I had, and I took it and bought flannels with it.
Okay.
And like my buddy's girlfriend by hand sewed our labels into them.
Wow.
I started with 100 labels, and I didn't know how to use any graphic design programs, so I made our first logo on fucking PowerPoint. Like, and like took pictures of it and tried to edit it on my phone, you know? And God, it was very different. It was rough too, man. It looked like shit. And I never thought I'd be able to get rid of those 100, but at the time I was just trying to make like an extra $300 a month, you know?
Right.
So anyways, so I'm going through all that shit, and then it like surfaced on the internet, and at that time you couldn't even find Yagos on the internet.
Like you had to like know in California like what T-shirt shop to go to, like a 3 for $10 place or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And then like as you start seeing like some success, like you get these people like hating, and so then like all this stuff surfaces like they're fucking relabeling the shit and blah blah blah. Even though like essentially, you know, as you know, like even as a T-shirt company,
Right.
that's what we all.
That's what.
do,
Yeah, that's what's done.
We take all styles and print on them or whatever. You know, the whole work is the design and everything else. So it kind of like blew up, and it was a really hard thing for me to deal with, but that was like buying us the time to get into the custom stuff.
Right.
So once I got past that, I made it my mission to show every fucking part of my business, because I felt like it was this dirty secret.
Right, right.
You know, it's like, and it turned out to be this thing. Dude, people still say it these days, you know? But,
People still say you're using Yagos?
yeah, they're just like, well, those are just fucking Yagos and blah, blah, blah. And you're like,
No, they're not.
okay, we just got lucky that they released a colorway that we just happened to throw a snap-on label on.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and we just did it all by hand. But it was like, so I just felt like I never wanted to have that secret again. I wanted to be able to show the whole thing. So it's like, someone walks in here with the camera, you guys walk in here today, like, you see all the same shit, like, you know, going
Right.
on. And so that part of the transparency, doubled with the fact that I couldn't find anybody telling the dirty part of the rise, is like, I just felt like that, maybe that was like why I'm here.
Right.
And if I help a couple of people along the way, and you know, it's like, you know, these days like I get a lot of messages of people who are like, you know, I fucking listen to your podcast and it made me like start my brand. I did this, and it's really cool when you start seeing these people like find some success too,
Right.
and find some happiness, you know, and then they're like, and they can come back and like write this fucking crazy thing that they got tears in their eyes because of what they created, and I know exactly what that's like.
Right, right.
That's when that shit like kind of reminds you that it's like that's what I have to keep on doing. So I feel like it's like more so like my duty to do it, because I'll tell you right now, it's like there's nothing except for that part. There's nothing cool that comes out of it. Like you're exposing yourself to the world, which is like, or to like your followers, which just opens you up to a lot of shit.
Right.
You know, you're making yourself very vulnerable. And that vulnerability, though, I just feel like that honesty there is like, it kind of was the difference that our brand can make, you know? And that's what I wanted to do, you know? So.
Once again, that rawness. To me, that raw is huge. That realness, that transparency, that's the biggest thing people can see. Because they see, I think sometimes people see, they don't, how do I say it? What they're the results, yeah, right. And not what's getting them to the result.
Absolutely.
And you're giving that.
Yeah, it's like when we watch like pro ball players, like or anything pro really, it's like we don't get to see that those dudes are fucking like their whole childhood was gone.
Right.
You know, it's like, and even the guys that don't make it, or the guys that are like just like the linemen that are like, you know, barely making ends meet, even though they're like a pro player, not barely making ends meet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they're not getting those 40 minutes.
They're not getting a running back paycheck.
And so it's like they have to figure out what to do after that, and like and life after that and everything, and nobody sees all that shit, you know. So it's I don't know. It's like I'm not trying to compare myself to that, but just to like reiterate, you know.
Yeah, hell yeah, you guys, man. Danny Dixxon, thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Cut. Fuck. That's why I don't fucking drink.
Great ending.